everybody, and welcome to Movie Recaps with Brit. Today, we will be taking a look at a movie titled Cinethrax. Without further ado, let's get started. The movie's protagonist is Dusty, a corpulent and old-fashioned man who lives a carefree life. His sole interests revolve around indulging in food and watching vintage films. Despite the technological advancements that have shaped the modern world, Dusty remains trapped in the past. He disapproves of smartphones, deems texting as a wasteful activity, and finds emojis peculiar. Millennials are his greatest apprehension as he cannot tolerate adolescents who hold divergent viewpoints. At the beginning of the film, Dusty sits in his car, devouring a burger while listening to 80s rock music. Despite his age of 50, he lacks a steady job and his carefree lifestyle has resulted in the loss of all his friends. However, Dusty remains indifferent to this outcome. Millennials quickly capture his actions on video, causing discomfort for Dusty, who, being extremely awkward, confronts them in return. Later, Dusty's niece, Chloe, joins him in the car, and they proceed to a movie theater. This has been their tradition since Chloe was young, and they continue it till date. While appearing close, their age and habits create a noticeable unease in Chloe towards her uncle. This is further highlighted when Dusty plays an old song that she deems boring. Upon reaching the theater named Cinethrax, the uncle and niece engage in a debate about which movie to watch. Dusty prefers a classic 80s film he has already seen 10 times, while Chloe insists on a Cinethrax exclusive 3D movie called Chosen. Eventually, the determined niece prevails. They proceed to the ticket queue, where numerous millennials are taking selfies and texting, a sight that Uncle Dusty finds repulsive. Adding to his dismay, he lacks the funds to purchase the costly movie tickets. Consequently, Chloe reluctantly provides some money. Interestingly, all the employees at Cinethrax, including the ticket seller and the bouncers, wear a peculiar and somber expression on their faces. Just before entering the main theater, Uncle Dusty discards his 3D glasses in the bin and retrieves his own bulky glasses, which he refers to as shifters. These shifters allow him to convert 3D movies into regular 2D films since he detests 3D movies to such an extent. He even brings a pair for his niece, Chloe, but, as expected, she refuses to wear them. Afterward, Dusty proceeds to the refreshment area to purchase popcorn. There, a group of millennials confronts him and questions if he unintentionally ended up in the 3D section. Dusty simply states his passion for movies and departs. Upon entering the main theater, he discovers Zach, an attractive individual who manages Cinethrax, flirting with Chloe. However, as Dusty approaches them, Zach quickly comes up with an excuse and departs. Simultaneously, two of Chloe's friends arrive and take seats next to her. It turns out this was her plan all along, to use the movie outing with her uncle as an excuse to leave the house. Dusty feels annoyed that Chloe isn't spending time with him and that her friends have occupied his seat. He attempts to persuade her to sit with him, but Chloe refuses. Chloe now perceives her uncle as a dull individual who will consistently embarrass her in front of her friends. Upon hearing this, Dusty feels sad but decides to sit directly behind Chloe's seat. Soon, Zach takes the stage and announces that the movie is about to start. He outlines the rules, emphasizing the prohibition on phone use and the requirement to wear Cinethrax 3D glasses. The millennials enthusiastically respond to the announcement, cheering with excitement. Finally, the movie Chosen commences. It presents a love story with unconventional acting and plot lines. However, due to the incredibly realistic 3D effects, the millennials thoroughly enjoy it. They enthusiastically scream and cheer after each dialogue. However, to Dusty's disappointment, he watches the movie without wearing any glasses. He eagerly anticipates going home. Shortly after, he remembers his shifter glasses and decides to put them on. Nevertheless, since these glasses convert the 3D experience into a mundane 2D version, Dusty remains unimpressed. Consequently, he resorts to irritating those around him. Spotting one of Chloe's friends texting, he reminds her of the theater's no-phone policy. His actions create a minor disturbance that does not sit well with the other millennials present. Eventually, Chloe intervenes and instructs her friend to cease phone usage so they can enjoy the movie in peace. Oblivious to the embarrassment he causes his niece in front of her cool friends, Dusty believes he has triumphed. As the movie progresses, Dusty grows increasingly bored. In one particular scene, he notices something highly peculiar, almost as if there is a malfunction on the screen. However, upon removing his shifter glasses, Dusty is met with nothing. Perplexed, he becomes curious about the authentic movie experience and expresses his desire to try on the Cinethrax glasses. He requests Chloe to lend him her glasses temporarily. However, by this point, Chloe has grown weary of her uncle's juvenile behavior. She straightforwardly scolds him for embarrassing her in front of her friends and urges him to behave normally. Left with no alternative, Dusty puts his shifter glasses back on and continues watching the movie. Suddenly, he becomes aware of a colossal worm-like creature peering through the screen. Astonishingly, none of the millennials in the theater seem to notice its presence, but Dusty can see it clearly. Filled with terror, he hastily removes his glasses, causing the worm to vanish. Several minutes go by, yet the worm remains absent. Dusty suspects a connection between the worm and his 2D glasses. Therefore, he puts them back on, and immediately, the enormous worm launches an attack with its tentacles. Dusty lets out a horrified scream, causing chaos within the theater. In the process, he accidentally spills his popcorn on Chloe and her friends. Fueled by anger, the millennials begin to insult him. However, Dusty remains convinced that something unusual is transpiring in the theater. He attempts to convey this to Chloe, but as expected, she dismisses his claims. Instead, she feels embarrassed and expresses regret for bringing him along. The disturbance catches the attention of Zach, the manager of Cinethrax, who approaches Dusty and escorts him away, much to the amusement of the other millennials. Worried about her uncle's well-being, Chloe decides to follow them. Outside, Dusty tries to explain that something emerged from the screen and approached him. However, Zach disregards his words, concluding that the elderly man is merely mistaking the incredibly realistic 3D effects for a genuine occurrence. Dusty firmly believes that he witnessed a worm-like creature. Eventually, he decides to request a refund and leave, but to his surprise, Chloe opts to stay behind. Instead, she scolds her uncle for repeatedly embarrassing her, seemingly seeking attention. With these words, she departs and returns to the theater. Dusty attempts to follow her, but Zach intervenes, informing him that he is no longer permitted inside. Left with no alternative, a devastated Dusty chooses to wait for Chloe until the movie concludes. Since he cannot remain in the main hall, Zach guides him to the projection room. Inside the projection room, Zach and his staff discuss how Cinethrax will dominate the world due to its highly realistic visuals and cinematic experiences. They assert that the era of traditional 2D movies has faded, with 3D taking precedence. The employees suggest that Dusty should give it a try, assuring him that if he remains dissatisfied, they will refund his money. Zach then offers Dusty a pair of Cinethrax glasses, but after careful consideration, Dusty declines the offer. Consequently, the Cinethrax employees become infuriated and undergo a sudden transformation, resembling possessed zombie-like creatures. They launch an attack on Dusty, nearly forcing him towards a sharp object. Miraculously, Dusty manages to escape their clutches. Dusty rushes to the main hall, desperately searching for an escape route. Unfortunately, all the Cinethrax employees have transformed into zombies and are relentlessly pursuing him. Therefore, Dusty sneaks into the storeroom and mentally prepares himself to engage in an activity he detests the most, texting. He sends multiple messages to Chloe, expressing his remorse for his previous behavior and acknowledging his fear of losing her. He attempts to warn her about the imminent danger, but before he can do so, Zach and the others forcefully enter the room and apprehend him. Meanwhile, Chloe begins to feel remorseful for scolding her uncle earlier. She eagerly awaits his next message, but it never arrives. Consequently, when she discovers his shifter glasses on the floor, she picks them up and puts them on. To her astonishment, she witnesses a colossal creature with tentacles that has taken control of the entire screen. Furthermore, the creature is draining the life out of all the other millennials, leaving Chloe as the sole uninfected individual in the theater. Overwhelmed with terror, she removes her glasses and attempts to flee, but the infected millennials start pursuing her. A fierce struggle unfolds, and all hope appears to be lost. Fortunately, aided by a prop sword, Chloe manages to fend off the countless infected millennials before making her way into the projection room. Inside, she discovers her uncle bound and restrained in a chair, confirming that his claims were indeed true. However, before she can assist him, Zach and the others arrive and apprehend Chloe. Subsequently, Zach unveils the mastermind behind the chaotic situation. It turns out to be an extraterrestrial creature that has journeyed from a distant galaxy with the intention of propagating its species. Zach asserts that being infected has been a positive transformation for him, as he no longer experiences pain or anxiety. He further encourages the uncle and niece to embrace this change, as the alien aims to help them escape their monotonous and unfulfilling existence. Uttering those words, he forcefully places a pair of Cinethrax 3D glasses on Dusty's face and compels him to watch the movie. Supposedly, this act will transform Dusty into one of them. However, just in the nick of time, Chloe intervenes and thrusts a shard of broken glass into the alien, momentarily stunning the infected zombies. This allows Chloe to free her uncle from his restraints. Regrettably, as they are on the verge of escaping, Zach unleashes a tentacle from his mouth that seizes Chloe and begins to possess her. In a matter of moments, her face starts to change, indicating that the alien has infiltrated her body. At that moment, Uncle Dusty seizes an axe and heroically beheads the alien. Nevertheless, the damage has already been inflicted. Soon, the two make their way to the exit door, and when Dusty opens it, he is confronted by the sight of a colossal alien laying waste to the city. At this moment, he finally comprehends that the world has fallen under the control of extraterrestrial beings. Simultaneously, Chloe's demeanor undergoes a transformation. She urges her uncle to embrace the shift and acknowledge the futility of resistance. She asserts that Zach's words were accurate, as this new existence is devoid of pain and anxiety. Gradually, other millennials and Cinethrax employees gather around, attempting to persuade Dusty to accept the change. They even join together in song to sway Dusty's mindset. Eventually, realizing the absence of any glimmer of hope, Dusty succumbs and begins singing along to the tune. In the final scene, everyone returns to the theater, where the same movie continues playing. Chloe, now fully possessed, hands her uncle a pair of Cinethrax glasses, encouraging him to embrace the transformation and join their ranks. The movie concludes as Dusty anxiously awaits the arrival of the alien to possess him. Thank you for watching our movie recap. While it may seem simple, it actually took a lot of hard work and dedication to produce. If you enjoyed the video, we kindly ask you to show your support by liking and subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll stay updated on our latest content and help us continue creating more in-depth analyses and critiques of the movies you love. Thank you again for your support.